hello everyone. Welcome to our last SAT prep video. From today onward, we are going to be transitioning into physics remote learning. So what I want to do first is I want to go over what that's going to look like and how that's going to be different from what we've been doing the past 2 weeks. So just like before, all the work that we do from now until we go back to school, during this time, it cannot negatively impact your grade. So if you do it or you don't do it, it's okay for right now. It's not going to have a negative impact on your grade. Now, because we are transitioning to remote learning, what that means is from today's lesson onward, so the first lesson about physics through when we go back to school, if you do not complete the work, it will go into gradebook as an incomplete and you'll have to make it up when we get back to school. If you don't complete the work at school and we go back to school, uh, or if you don't complete the work now, it's fine. If we go back to school, you can make it up, no big deal. But if we go back to school and you still don't complete that work, then it will have a negative impact on your grade. So if you don't do anything until we go back to school and you don't make up the work when we get back, that is going to really hurt your grade in the long run. So please, from now on, make sure you're staying up to date with everything we are doing on Google Classroom as much as possible, because eventually it will go into gradebook for a grade. All right, so that's the first major difference. The remote learning grades will all be made up by the end of the school year. Second major difference is I'm not going to be posting videos anymore. Instead, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using Google Meet and we're going to be having live classes. This will still be every other day. So there will be one on Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, alternating like that. They're going to last about 90 minutes. And it's basically just going to be class, but live. So we're going to go over the lesson. We'll go over the vocab, anything you need to know. We'll do some clicker question type stuff. And yeah, it'll be good times. And I'll also be recording those and then posting them also, so that way if you miss it for whatever reason, you can go back in and look and stay up to date. Uh, so that's going to be every other day, about 90 minutes, Google Meet. I'll post links to Google Classroom to access it. And then every day, you can always reach me through email, Google Hangout, from about 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's going to be about the schedule that I'm sticking to. Our first Google Meet session is going to be on Thursday at 11:30. We're going to be going over the assignment that I'm posting today, as well as what you're going to need for the assignment going forward. So this this letter that you're looking at right now is going to be posted to Google Classroom along with today's video and our first lesson for Thursday. Also, there's going to be a survey for you to take asking you about your internet access at home so that we can best help you and make sure that you're staying up to date and completing all the stuff that you need to. If you know someone who does not have internet access, please communicate with them, help them out. We should always be talking to each other and helping each other out, but we will be having packets of information at the school, packets of work that that any student can go and pick up and make sure that you stay up to date with the assignments that way. So if you know anyone who doesn't have internet access, reach out to them and say, hey, this is what's going on. And just let them know that they can go to school to pick up the packet of information and the packet of work so that they can take care of. Okay. All right. Well, let's get into today's video. We're going over SAT prep on probability. We're going to go over the answers and then break down each one just like we always do. So here we go. Here are the answers. Number 1 is D. Number 2 is B. Number 3 is D. Number 4 is E. Number 5 is A. So D, B, D, E, A. With that being said, let's get into it and break down each question individually. All right, problem 1. In any given week, Emma exercises on 4 days. What is the approximate percent chance that Emma is not exercising on any given day of the week? All right, so we know that there are 7 days in 1 week. We know that Emma exercises on 4 out of the 7. and that she is then not exercising on 3 out of 7. So 3 out of 7 would be what? Decimal, grab your calculator. 3 divided by 7 is 0.42 and 428, excuse me. So we're going to round that to 0.43. Now, when we're talking about percentages, 1.00 is 100%. So 0.43 is going to give you 43%. And on to problem 2. A clothing rack in a store holds small, medium, and large blue t-shirts. There are 5 small blue t-shirts, 4 medium blue t-shirts, and 13 large blue t-shirts. If Kaylee selects a blue t-shirt at random from the clothing rack, what is the probability that it will be medium? So to calculate a probability, we're going to do, it's how many are you looking for out of the total? That's always how we calculate a probability. So we need to know how many we're looking for, and we need to divide it by the total. So to find the total, we add up all the shirts, 5 small plus 4 medium plus 13 large, and we are looking for a medium, so that would just be 4. So our fraction is going to be 4. If you do the math down here, 5 plus 4 plus 13 is going to give you 22. And we can simplify 4 and by 22 down to divide both by 2, 2 out of 11. And problem 2 is done. 3. Miss Lawrence graded her students' final exams. The table below shows the score range for each letter grade in Miss Lawrence's class and how many students earned each letter grade on their exam. So we have a table there, a bunch of score ranges, letter grades, number of students. Based on this table, if Miss Lawrence chose one student from the class at random, what is the probability that the student received an 84 or below? Alright, so this problem is exactly the same as number 2, but we have to look at this table and identify a couple things. So we're looking for students that received an 84 or below. If I look up here, my score range, anyone who got a C or less got an 84 or below. So these are the students that I'm looking for out of a total population of all of these students. So again, we want to set up our fraction, what we're looking for, divided by the total options. So on the top, we're looking for anyone who got a C, that would be 12 students. Oh my goodness. Hard to write on this left-handed. 12 students plus 6 who got D's plus the 2 who got F's divided by the total, which would be this again, but also plus the students who got A's and B's. So 12 plus 6 plus 2 plus 13 plus 17. All right, so this is going to be on the top, we have 20, and on the bottom we have 50, I believe. Let me grab my calculator to check. 12 plus 6 plus 2 plus 13 plus 17 is 50. So it's 20 out of 50. So 20 out of 50 would be the same as 2 out of 5, or 40%. 40% chance. That is problem 3. Okay, problem 4. In a bowl that contains 180 pieces of popcorn, 36 pieces are cheese flavored, 90 pieces are caramel flavored, and 54 pieces are chocolate flavored. If a piece of popcorn is randomly selected from the bowl, what is the probability that it will not be cheese flavored? Alright, let's set up our fraction. So we need 180 on the bottom, because that is the total pieces of popcorn. 36 are cheese flavored, and then everything else is not. So 2 ways to do this. You could do 180 minus 36, or we could do 90 plus 54. Give us the same number either way. So this is 144 over 180. Oh my goodness. Zoom back in. Sorry about that. Left-handed does not work for writing on these screens. Which is if we divide this out in our calculator, we get 0.8. And again, move the decimal place twice to get the percentage that is 80%. And we are done with problem 4. Problem 5. Jose decided to keep track of the weather for 30 days, noting if each day was hot and or rainy. At the end of the 30 days, Jose counted 18 hot days and 10 rainy days. What is the minimum number of days during this period that were both hot and had rain? Okay, so this question here is kind of a trick question. It is not something that you actually have to solve. So if we take a look, there are 30 possible days that we're tracking. 18 were hot and 10 were rainy. But that only gives us, if we combine these two together right here, that only gives us 28 days. So there were 2 days where who knows what was happening. In order for there to be a minimum number of days that were hot and rainy, these two together would have to be greater than 30. Because that would mean that there was at least, so let's say, for example, it adds up to 31. There had to be at least one day then that was hot and rainy. But since we only get 28 days, theoretically, technically, I could have had 18 hot days in a row followed by 10 rainy days where they never mixed. They were either hot or rainy. They didn't have to be both. So this one we don't actually have to do with because this does not exceed 30. So the answer to this one is technically 0 days. Okay. Now it doesn't have to be 0, but the chance or the minimum number is 0. Okay, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for the minimum number. We have no idea. It could be all 28 days that were both hot and rainy. It could be anything in between, but it doesn't have to be any of the days because the number of hot days and the number of rainy days doesn't exceed how many total days we're dealing with. So the minimum number that it has to be is 0. All right, that concludes our SAT prep distance learning during the quote-unquote act of God days. Now remember, keep in mind if you've made it this far, and again I'll post it in Google Classroom, starting now with the lesson I'm posting today due Thursday, this is all remote learning and it will impact your grade eventually. So during this time, your grade cannot go down because of what you do or don't do, but it will go in as an incomplete. And then when we come back to school, you will have to make up the assignments to then make up your grade if you are not doing them as we go through. So make sure you're tuning in. We're going to start doing some Google meetings and such more regularly, and we're going to be actually diving into the curriculum. So make sure you're tuning in, make sure you're ready to learn, make sure you're ready to do the work because our break is over. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I will see you all on Thursday for our Google meeting. Don't forget to like and subscribe.